Well, happy Lent. Here we are again, once again, with the joyful season of Lent. I always like that piece because the church uses those words, joyful season of Lent, in the first preface for Lent. And I think sometimes we have this impression that Lent is a dreary time, a time of sadness, a time of some kind of trying to improve ourselves in some super way. And I think we didn't quite get it. The point of Lent is to prepare once again for the life of the resurrection that we're asked to lead all the time. And so we are really a resurrected people, and all of Lent has to be seen, I think, in terms of Easter and the Easter experience. So why do we have this season? I think this season is a time when we are able now to reflect on those areas in our lives where we can sharpen up our life of the resurrection, or those areas of our lives that we need to invite Jesus into to help us to change. And the church gives us really three traditional areas. One is prayer. I think that part of what we need to do is to think about the time that we devote to prayer. Now, sometimes that prayer is gathering in the church as a community, praying with our brothers and sisters at Mass, for instance. But sometimes that is also our own personal relationship with Jesus, that we spend time in the presence of Christ. You know, a simple thing to do is to take time just to maybe 10 minutes a day to sit down and be grateful for all that God has done for us. And to end that time with, you know, what have I done for Christ? What am I doing for Christ? And what will I do for Christ? Just to ask ourselves those three questions during Lent, because it centers us on the fact that this risen Jesus is the reason why we are Catholic, why we are Christian. And it centers our whole life around the Christ, so that all of our decisions will flow from that commitment. The second piece is almsgiving. You know, almsgiving has to do with thinking about what is our relationship to things. I just invite you to do what I do. Go into the closet and see what you haven't used for a year or 2 years or more that's hanging there. See how much stuff we have, you know. And how can we sort of divest ourselves of things? What is my relationship to things? What's my relationship to money? What is my relationship to the needs that I have or the wants that I have? This time of Lent, we can sit back and think about that. And then we can think about how we can help those who don't have enough to live on. It's always good to remember that most of the world lives on $1 a day at most. You know, most people live on that. It's good for us to reflect on how much God has given us, and to reflect that why He's given it to us is so that we can help others. So this is what this piece is about. And the third piece is fasting. So traditionally, fasting has to do with eating habits, and that's a very important part for us to consider during this time of Lent. But it also has to do with our being willing to fast from things like TV, or fast from things that are bad habits of ours. How do we use our time? Do we use it well? Do we use it for building up the gospel? Do we use it for helping people? Fasting from being critical or negative all the time. It's sort of a different way to look at the fasting piece. So I consider Lent as a time that's given to us by Christ so that we can look over our lives and see how we can ask Jesus to help us improve. That we can take a little time out to be centered in God and allow God to do for us what we can't do simply by willpower. Have a happy Lent.